I just realized that because I didn't bring all my projects over, I didn't want to carry them as I move spots. I didn't bring a yarn that I really wanted to show you, but I do have pictures and videos of it, so we'll put it up when I get to that part of life. So this last week, oh, let me let the truck go by. It's Natalie, also known as Nitty Natty. Welcome to episode 286 of the Love in Stitches podcast. Today I am coming to you from Pritchard, British Columbia. We're in this nice little community park. I've kind of tucked myself into a corner over here with the van blocking me, so hopefully, not too in the way. It is a quiet Sunday morning here, which is really, really nice. And we found a shady spot, which is amazing because the weather feels so good in the shade. It is wild how much the sun makes it so much hotter in this area. I don't really know what it is, but maybe we're higher elevation. I don't really know. We're making our way from Vancouver to Revelstoke. We started our drive yesterday and we've been doing just like the most beautiful scenic drives. We did the Sea to Sky Highway yesterday, which was just incredible. And then today we made our way back onto the one. So we've just been making our way east to finish out British Columbia. I have a handful of projects to talk about today. But first I want to say a big thank you to today's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform for entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online. Whether you're just starting out or managing a growing brand, Squarespace makes it so easy to create a beautiful website, engage with your audience, and sell anything from products to content to time, all in one place and all on your own terms. I'll share a little bit more about how I use Squarespace later on in the episode. For now, let's get into those projects. Once again this week, I have been completely obsessed with my butterfly vest. So since I just started this project right before last week's episode, I wanted to share some of the details again about the yarn and everything. I haven't finished it yet, but I am getting really, really close. So I'll tell you what I've been doing this week. I got quite a tangle of different needles and things happening here. And all right. So this is a pattern by the Knitting Loft. We visited that yarn store in Toronto, and the yarn is also from the Knitting Loft. They have their own line of yarn, and they have so many wonderful bases. I'm using 2 of them for this project. So here's what their tag looks like. It's a really fun little logo. Both of the colors that I am using, or both of the yarns that I'm using, are in the color Electric Pink, which is a really bright, fantastic pink. One of the bases I'm using is called Willow. It's 100% Rambouillet, a non-superwash yarn. That's the one I'm actually currently working on. It's so nice. It's really nice and bouncy. This is actually only used for the button band and around the shoulders and armholes and everything. I'll show you that in a second. But for most of this, I've been using their Lush base, which is a really fun fuzzy yarn. It's 65% baby alpaca, 20% merino, and 15% silk. Now, the pattern is called the butterfly vest. It is not sold anywhere. They give it away at the store when you get the yarn. So I'm not able to link it on Ravelry or anything. I just kind of have it named the butterfly vest, but it's this cute little vest that has ties on it. And I'm really happy that I was able to get it while I was at the store. So here is how things are looking. It's like so bright. I actually can't really tell if the camera is even able to like focus on it right now. Let's see. Isn't it so good? Here's that Lush yarn. It's so fuzzy and so fantastic and so much fun. So where I left off last week, where was I? I know I hadn't joined it together at the top yet, but I was making my way like well into this project. I think maybe I was working on the fronts. So finished the fronts last week, and then worked on the back, and I did run out of yarn. So what I was explaining last week is that I underbought my yarn for a couple different reasons. So I underbought yarn, and for that reason, I am making a size, I think I'm making 2 sizes smaller than I would pick had I had enough yarn. Could I have gotten more yarn? Possibly, but not in an easy way. We're moving constantly right now. I don't have an address to ship anything to. Plus, I would probably need to get it shipped to me in Canada just with everything going on. So I just decided I don't care. I'm just gonna make a smaller size. And if it fits me, great. If I can wear it, great. If not, I will just give it to somebody else. And I've had so much fun making it, so I'm not really worried about that. Now, I actually was close to having enough yarn for this size. I think I'm making the 32. And just for reference, my bust measurement is about 34 inches, and I typically go for a decent amount of ease. So I probably would have picked like the 40 if I was doing everything properly and had bought another skein of yarn. So I just barely ran out. Can you, oh yeah, you can see that. See right here, I just barely ran out for like the last little bit of the top of the back. If not, I would have had enough yarn for this size, which is pretty great. So not too bad. Sorry, I wanted to let somebody walk by so they didn't have to worry about anything. So I did make one small change here to the back, just in case you happen to get this pattern. I just changed up the short rows a little bit to match what the pattern said for the front. I got a little confused on those in the pattern, and so I just made a note of that in my Ravelry page as well, in case you're doing this at any point in the future. So finished up the back, joined to the shoulders, has a nice little 3-needle bind off, which was great. And then I haven't woven in any ends yet, so there's ends poking out everywhere. A lot of times in my projects, I tend to like get to a point where, let's just say I'm doing the body or something and it's, you know, stockinette for 10 inches or something like that. I'm like, all right, I need a little break from doing stockinette for 10 inches. Let me pause, let me weave in all these ends, kind of clean things up. I find that really satisfying. And with this project, I've just been so into the knitting that I haven't wanted to stop and weave in ends at all. So I haven't yet. I will, obviously, before I finish it. But another thing that I did is this edging. It's just a really nice, simple, can you see it? Is it focusing? Are you focusing, camera? Can't really tell. It's just a really nice, simple edging. So again, the body's done in that lush yarn, and then the edging is done just in the rambouillet, making a nice little contrast there. So I did both sleeves, and then I have been working on the button band. Sorry for the interruptions. I'm just making sure that I'm not being a bother in public and pausing whenever I hear people come. Okay. The last thing I've been working on this is the band. I keep wanting to call it the button band, but there are no buttons because there are ties on this. So I don't think I've ever done a band like this before, and it is slow going, but I'm really enjoying it. Like, I'm enjoying the process of it. So you can see on this side, I have stitches. Gosh, can you see? I don't know, for some reason, I don't know if it's just the brightness of this. Hold on, let me, oh, drop my notebook. Okay, hold on. Let me get up here so I can get closer to this and see if you can see this clearly. Hold on. No, I still can't see. Okay. I think this might be better. Okay, so see on this side, I've picked up all of these stitches here. These are all the stitches, all the live ones, like waiting for me. So you pick up all the way around, and then you come back through and you work this button band, or this tie band. So you go back and forth working, and I have another needle for when I'm doing this. You can see it right up here is where I currently am at. So I use another needle. This is like my resting needle, and I use my other needle. And you work back and forth, I guess we'll say this way, back and forth, and every row, every other row, you consume one of the live stitches on here. And then you work back across, and then you come back again and you consume one of the stitches from the pickup from earlier. And it's just a really nice way to get this really cool band. The other cool thing about it is you're doing like a knit one, slip one, which I have done before, which creates almost really a tube. It's almost like a giant I-cord without working in the round because you're knitting and slipping. Anyway, it's just been really cool. I've never quite done a band like that on a sweater before, I'm pretty sure. Like, I've seen the technique, I have seen other people do it, and I'm pretty sure this is my first time. If it isn't, it's my first time in a really long time. So I'm enjoying it. It's slow, but it's really, really nice. So I am about not quite 3/4 of the way around. I've come all the way up the right side, across the back of the neck, and now I am starting to work my way down the left side. Now, the other fun part is that you're adding these ties as you go. So there's 3 ties per side. They are also a little bit tedious, but really nice because you do them as you go by casting on and binding off stitches. So I've got the 3 added on this side, and then I've got them marked over here with stitch markers. So I will be finishing those up. So if I had to guess, I would say I probably have another 2 to 3 days on this because I can only do so much in a day. I think I've already done this much during our hour drive this morning. So that's encouraging. When you don't have to add the ties, it's pretty fast. So yeah, maybe another 2 or 3 days and this thing will be finished. I'm hoping, since we're staying at some campsites with water, that I could potentially get this blocked. Because one, it really needs it. The ties are like little curly cues. I keep springing them. They're kind of fun to spring, but they need to be blocked out pretty badly. They might need a couple of blocks, to be honest. I could block the whole thing and then maybe I could just soak these guys on their own, kind of wet them and stretch them out. I don't have any pins or blocking boards. Actually, I don't even have any blocking soap because when I was packing for this trip this summer, I was like, be realistic. What did you use and what did you not use? And I think I only blocked something 1 or 2 times in the whole previous 18 months we were on the road. And so I didn't think it was worth bringing my bars of blocking soap because they can melt a little bit in the van and I just didn't feel like it was worth bringing them. And I didn't. And I've blocked more things on this trip than I did in the previous, 18 months, but I just wait until I'm at friends' houses. And I do have a friend's house coming up, a stay. So maybe I could do that, but I don't know if I want to wait another couple of weeks. But maybe I can get a little tiny packet of soak or something. I believe soak is actually made I think the company Soak is actually based in Canada. So I've seen a lot of it around here. So maybe I can get a little bit of soak. In either way, I can just wet it, right? I've used dish soap as well. So this is all going really nicely. The only thing is it's probably not going to fit. I mean, it will go on. I will be able to put it on, but will it be wearable for me is yet to be determined. The other thing I've been working on this week is my Canada blanket. So I first needed to finish up my yarn that I got 2 weeks ago in Victoria at the Spinnacle. I'd already done my plain Battenberg square, but then I needed to do my pattern square from the Yorkshire pattern. So this yarn is from the Spinnacle. It's called Truffle-a-Trees, and so many of you told me that Truffle-a-Trees are from the Lorax, so thank you. I could not remember what that was from. So I completed my second square out of this gorgeous yarn. So this is from the Yorkshire Crochet Along blanket. I think it's just the Yorkshire blanket by Mima Makes. I'm holding my yarn double and I'm using actually, I don't remember what hook size I'm using, but it's definitely on my Ravelry project page. I can picture it. It's blue, that hook. All my hooks have different colors because they're the clover hooks. I think it's a 4.5 millimeter, but don't quote me on that. I think it's a size 7, 4.5 millimeter. I'm not really sure. I should know that. This is the second square in the Yorkshire pattern. It's called Mill Wheel. And it's a really fun one. I really enjoy making this one because it's one of those that has the little build up. You are starting out round and then you have to square it off by doing a, triple crochet, double crochet, double crochet. Actually, I think it's double, triple. Anyway, it's really fun. I just find these squares particularly very satisfying. Then we went to a handful of yarn stores in Vancouver this week. I'm going to talk about more of them later on in the life segment. But one of them we went to is Bad Anna's. And if you watched our Manitoba vlog, you saw us go to a farm and it was, oh gosh, why am I going to blank on the name of it right now? Okay, that was embarrassing. It's Longway Homestead. We spent hours there. We went to Longway Homestead and Anna is the owner of Longway Homestead. It's a beautiful farm with Shetland sheep and a mill. Anyway, we filmed a really great tour there. So if you haven't seen that, please go watch that. But before Anna had the farm in Manitoba, she had a yarn store in Vancouver, British Columbia. And so we went to the yarn store, and it's a really lovely shop, lots of great space, really great yarns. And I ended up picking up another yarn from another British Columbia dyer. And that is from Sea to Sky Designs. I picked the color Pink Alicious, and when I showed this colorway on my Instagram, you guys loved it, and it has crocheted up so beautifully. So these are the solid squares that I'm doing. I'm doing one solid square, one pattern square from each of my yarns, which is using up most of a 100-gram skein of fingering weight. And I actually have the next one going. I've picked out, actually, I don't remember the name of it, but once I have it finished next week, I'll share the name. It's got baubles all the way around it. It's really fun. So the way I'm holding my yarn double is caking it up, and I'm pulling one strand from the inside, one strand from the outside, and just holding it like it's one yarn, which is really nice to use up more yarn and to blend the colors really nicely. Now I also have been adding, and I haven't shown this in a little while, so let me get this out. This is the linen stitch, or a linen stitch blanket. Specifically, it is one by Tony of TL Yarn Crafts. She did a temperature blanket where she just made different squares every single month. And I've taken the exact same pattern and just made it huge. Like I've just keep going and going and going and just repeating the same round. So it is getting quite big now. And with this blanket, I'm making it for our dog Toaster. It fits him great right now. It's not going to get that much bigger because I only have a few more yarns, or I will only have a few more yarns to add to it. And right now I can get like at least one time around, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. So it doesn't need to be much bigger, which is great because he's really tiny, and it just makes the nicest texture. So you can see I added in the yarn from Spinnacle Yarns, and when I'm done with this Pink Alicious colorway from Sea to Sky, I will add it in here too. I think I'm doing really good on being sort of disciplined with the blanket. I've landed on a choice of not going for so many more yarns and instead going for fewer yarns to round things out. My goal was to have at least one yarn from every province, and I think at this point I will have two-ish from every province, maybe only one. I feel like there's one province I only got one yarn in. But I think what I have left now is one more yarn, which will be from Alberta for one more set of squares, and then another yarn from Alberta to join it and do the border. I think that's where I've landed. I gotta count everything. I didn't do that last week. I said, oh, I'm probably gonna count everything and update my project page, and I definitely didn't. So probably not this week either. We're having too many nights without internet, and it makes it really hard to do things like update Ravelry. But I think that's everything on the blanket this week, and that I've been knitting and crocheting. I've been putting a few rounds here and there on a Kindle cover, but it's not done yet. So when I have that done, I'll share it maybe next week. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. As a small business owner, you wear many different hats. You're the creative director, you're the support team, you're the copywriter, and it can be difficult and overwhelming to add another role to that list, like a website designer. Luckily, Squarespace makes it so easy to create a professional and engaging website without any prior experience. I was able to create my own website in just a few clicks, and then I can just tweak everything from there. One of the handy tools that Squarespace has for budding website designers like me, no experience, is templates. There are templates from everything from starting your website from scratch to creating different page layouts, all the way down to creating different sections within the pages. This is so handy because I don't know about you, but I am not good with code, and I want everything to be simple and easy. And Squarespace has more than just standard websites. If you're looking to sell digital or physical products, they have you covered. You can even sell memberships and other gated content. Plus, Squarespace makes it easier than ever to take payments. Customers have so many ways to pay with popular options like Klarna, ACH Direct Debit, Apple Pay, Afterpay, and ClearPay. If you're a small business owner, it couldn't be easier to get started with Squarespace. If you are ready to launch your Squarespace site, go to squarespace.com/nittynatty and use my code nittynatty to get 10% off your first website or domain. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Now let's head back into the episode. As you can see, I've moved over to a different shady part of the park. The view across the way is so beautiful. I wish I could turn and film that way, but it is just way too bright, so I will do my best to show you with my phone at the rolling hills that I'm seeing. Also over here, there seem to be a few more bugs. I walked through a few spider webs on my way over here, and there's this bug that makes this like clicking sound, so I don't know if you can hear it or not, or if the audio editing is going to cut that out, but if you do hear little clicks, that's what that is. It's like these bugs that sounds like they're hitting one of those like electric fly swatters is what it sounds like to me. I don't know what they are, but we have heard them in a number of different places and they are wild sounding. Okay, I have a couple of questions to answer here today. I love doing this segment, so if you have any questions for me about knitting, crochet, travel, etc., please put them down below with the hashtag question, and I will do my best to answer them in next week's episode. For today, we have a question from Knitting Turnpike. Do you ever save scraps for repairs? And how much do you save? I was just thinking about this the other day, which is wild. Like before I read this question, or maybe I did read the question and I had forgotten I read the question and I was like, oh, I'll answer that on the next episode. But whatever it was, I was actually thinking about that. I do not save my scraps for repairs and I probably should. What I was thinking in my head is, oh, it would be so smart to just save a couple of yards of each yarn from finished garments, because I think garments and maybe blankets would be the only thing that I would take the time to repair. I don't really see myself saving leftovers for repairs for things like socks or accessories, because it wouldn't really be worth the time for most of those, I think, just for me personally. But I was thinking it would be so smart to have a simple system of just like maybe Ziploc baggies, and you just put a couple yards of each yarn in there, slide a label in there, and maybe on the label or on another piece of paper you write what project that's for. I guess you wouldn't even need to do that if you just take that project and go and match it up with what you did, or if you're like me and you're a Ravelry user and you keep everything, you track everything on Ravelry or something else digitally. But that would be such a simple and easy system, and then you would know you have what you need and you could take the rest of your leftovers and either donate them, give them to somebody else, or put them into a scrappy project, knowing that you've saved what you need to repair a hole or something. I definitely have gotten holes in different projects. Like one that comes to top of mind is my traveler sweater. I snagged it on something and it snapped the yarn. And instead of using leftover yarn, because I actually did have leftovers of that, I just don't know where they are right now. I just kind of like pulled the stitches tighter and like tied the tightest knot that I could. I think that's what I did with that one. So there's ways to repair without having, extra yarn, but I think that is like a smart thing to do. So if there is anyone who saves leftovers specifically for repairs and you kind of have a good system, please share what you do, because that would be really, really helpful. All right, last question here is from Candy. What are your fall and next travel plans after Canada? That is the question we have been getting the most, especially when we're visiting people. Sorry, I don't know if this is a lingering spider web or a piece of hair, but something keeps tickling me and I'm afraid it's going to be a bug. So the best answer I have is we're going back to Tennessee for sure, because all of our things are there. My parents live in Tennessee. All of our stuff is in Tennessee. We've been staying with them in Nashville. So we're definitely headed back to Tennessee as like our final destination before we move to like the next stage, whatever that may be. Right now, we don't know what that is. That's one of the things that Kent and I discuss the most when we are driving is what are some options for what we want to do? There's a couple of cities we have that we would love to consider living in. And so we might make some stops on our way back to Nashville when we're done traveling in Canada. There's some that won't be on the way, so we might make some trips to those. We are really, really fortunate that we have time because we have like that safety net of being able to stay at my parents'. And I guess if ever my parents were like, get out of here, which they have not said that. They're like, come stay here. We love it when you stay. We could stay in our van until we find a place that we want to live. So we're very fortunate in that sense that we are not in any particular rush. We have the benefit of time. So we're not sure if we want to move in the fall or if we want to wait until the new year. I think first we need to figure out where we want to go. So it's TBD. And once we do figure something out, once that is solidly in place, I'm happy to share that. I just don't really want to share anything because one, we don't know, and I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, you don't want to tell too many people your maybe plans because if it changes, you have so many people to update, right? So yeah, right now we're headed back to Tennessee. We should be finished traveling in Canada mid-September. So we have one more province to go to, Alberta, and we're going to be in Alberta for a couple of weeks. And then we will come back into the US. I think we're going to make a few national park stops in the US as well on our way back to Tennessee, which I'm very excited for. We're just going to like slowly make our way back there. So yeah, Tennessee for an indefinite amount of time and maybe somewhere else after that. We don't know. So that's it. Those are the questions for this week. Again, if you do have any questions for me, again, knitting like yarn related or travel related or I guess life related, happy to answer those in the next episode. Super quick news this week. The Love and Stitches membership is opening up on September 2nd. It will be open for about 6 days. And this is our third, it's not really the third quarter. I guess it's like the third term for the year because we do 4-month terms. So if you sign up in September, you are signing up for September, October, November, December through the end of the year. We do it in 4-month terms. That way we know we have this group of people for this many months so we can do long-term make-alongs. We're doing a colorwork sweater make-along this fall, along with other like smaller make-alongs from month to month. All the information is on the website. If you go to knittingnatty.com, there is a membership button at the top that will take you to the website where the membership is because they are on separate things. I think I'm going to work on getting them on one website maybe when we're not traveling anymore because that would be a big move. But for now, that's how you can get there very easily. There is a waitlist to sign up for if you so want to. The waitlist essentially just puts you on an email list where I can email you more information about the membership, and I'll send you an email when the membership opens as a reminder. That way you're not going to forget. So that's all linked down below. If you are already on the membership waitlist this weekend, actually, I think tomorrow, if you're watching on Thursday, on Friday, you will get an email inviting you to a temporary Discord group that I call the membership preview. And it's just a good space to come in, kind of see what the Discord is like. It's not as large as, it doesn't have as many topics as the one that is that you will be in once you're joined the membership, once you've joined the membership, my gosh. But it's like a great space to ask questions, get to know some other people, and go ahead and get on like comfortable with one of the platforms that we use for the membership. So look out for that if you're on the list. I just realized that because I didn't bring all my projects over, I didn't want to carry them as I move spots. I didn't bring a yarn that I really wanted to show you, but I do have pictures and videos of it, so we'll put it up when I get to that part of life. So this last week, let me let the truck go by. This past week, we made our way from Victoria to Vancouver and then on the scenic drive that we started yesterday. So not from Victoria, actually, sorry. We went to Victoria, we went up Vancouver Island, and we went to Pacific Rim National Park. That's where I filmed my last podcast. After that, we made our way to Nanaimo and we took the ferry to Vancouver. I think that's right. So many things happen in a week. Sometimes I get things a little turned around. But before we got on that ferry, we got to meet up with a viewer, Claudette, in Port Alberni. We had pizza and I knitted, and it was really lovely and such a fun time. I just love when things like that work out, where we get to meet up with people. I haven't been doing any like yarn store meetups in Canada because we've been traveling at a much more relaxed and unscheduled pace, and planning group meetups takes, is opposite of that vibe that we're going for on this trip. So sometimes we just like day before, plan to meet up with people, and it works out and it's lovely. So that was really fun, and it was really nice to meet somebody in person. It was great. Then we made our way to Vancouver and we went to a couple more yarn stores. I know I already mentioned Bad Anna's, where I got the yarn for my blanket, but we also went to Sweet Georgia. I was really excited to go here. They're in a business park, and it's like a honestly pretty decent sized like showroom basically in the front, and their dye studio in the back. And so we got in, honestly, it was like just before they closed, but I was like, I want to get some mini skeins because I love their mini skeins. I love their colors. They're amazing. So I ended up getting these mini skeins, which I have already started working on something with that will be a little bit of a surprise in a month or so. Stopped at Sweet Georgia. It was lovely. They were lovely. It was really, really great. And then the next day, was it the next day? Doesn't matter. We did a hike. We went to Grouse Mountain and we hiked Grouse Grind, which was the hardest hike we've ever done for sure, with confidence. It is about, I don't even know how many stairs. I think Kent's watch said he climbed 188 flights of stairs. So multiply that by at least 10, I would say. So at least 1,000 stairs, maybe more. So many stairs and rocks to climb up and up and up. I believe it was about 2,000 feet of elevation gain over 2 kilometers. So it was quite a lot of elevation. We did it extremely slowly. It took us about 2.5 hours, which is not too bad. And we would kind of stop, like they had markers. I think it must have been so many meters up. It would like, there would be a marker. There was like 40 of them on the way. So we basically stopped at every single one, took like 30 seconds or 60 seconds, sometimes longer, and then made our way up to the next one. And it was wild, but we're very proud of ourselves for doing it. And when you got to the top, there was so many fun things to do. Like there was a grizzly bear rescue and a lumberjack show, and just like all of these things that were really, really fun. And then we went to one more yarn store yesterday. We went on the Sea to Sky Highway, which was a gorgeous drive, and we stopped in Squamish at Sweet Threads. And this is where I got the really cool yarn that I wish I had brought over to show you, but I will show you a picture instead. Oh, but I don't have the label. Oh, why did I do this to myself? Hold on, I can look on my phone. Okay, so yes, this yarn is a BC Dyer Crafty Jacks, and the colorway that I got was specifically dyed for Sweet Threads, and it's called Sea to Sky. Again, the highway that we were on, and it's this really lovely color, but what's even cooler is the yarn base. So I want to see, I don't think I have it clear enough on this image here to read you out the whole thing, but essentially the dyer of Crafty Jacks, I think her name might be Kristen. I feel like I overheard that, so don't quote me on that. But basically worked with a mill to develop this base that has no synthetic fibers in it, but is still good for sock yarn. So it has BFL and mohair to strengthen it, and it is supposed to be a very strong sock yarn, and they took years, I think, to develop this. So I am really excited to try it and see how it works for socks. Plus it's just the most beautiful colorway. Something that I've seen a lot in stores in Canada, like more than stores in the US, is customer winding station. So I was able to wind this yarn up myself and get it all ready, and it's not going to go in my blanket. I don't think, unless I end up needing another yarn, but I think I'm going to have plenty to fill things out in Alberta once I do my final count. But if I do make an error, I do have that as an extra. But I am planning to use this yarn, whether it's in my blanket, but most likely in socks. And I am really excited to try it. Okay, well, that was kind of an all over the place episode. So thanks for bearing with me through the mini cuts and scene changes. Hopefully next week we'll find somewhere to be that is a little more remote. This is like, you know, obviously we've been in a big city because we were in Vancouver for a while, but it's so much more fun to get outside of the van and film a podcast. Plus Kent's in there playing D&D, so I had to leave the van. Anyway, thanks for sticking around if you made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.